From the John DeVita Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Armchair Experts with Jim Leon and a special guest expert on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network and Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich on Wednesday, November the 26th, the year 2014. And now, here's Jim Leon and a special guest expert. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. DeVita. It's delightful to be here again. We are in special guest expert mode this week as Rich Massaro is off on, as we like to laughingly refer to it, special assignment. I bring my better half with me today, Dana Felmley.
Hi.
Hi. This is we are. Radio's trying to become another answer to great teams in radio, Bob and Marianne, Bill and Wendy, Terry and Dan. We're going to do with Thanksgiving coming up. Mr. DeVita, do you have any Thanksgiving memories that you can share with the class?
Well, of course, Thanksgiving was always a special day in the DeVita family. We would get together with the grandparents, my dad's parents, my mother's parents, and at that time we lived at 3528 North Oakley in Chicago. Oh. And up on the second floor, my mother would be starting on Tuesday and
my gosh,
making a big turkey, setting a big table, and I have a lot of great memories of Thanksgiving from years ago.
Okay, I'd always remember on Thanksgiving watching the parades, watching football. My mother making a meal, complaining about it. And then when I got married, always having to go to my mother-in-law's house at her insistence on Thanksgiving and her complaining about having to make dinner for all of us. So that was always sort of, I think she tried to put the fun back in dysfunctional through the whole thing. But that was Thanksgiving. Dana?
Well, I grew up outside of Detroit, and we would always watch the parade. First, it was the Hudson's Parade in downtown Detroit, and then on TV. Mm-hmm. And then
I was going to ask, did you ever go down and watch it?
No, we never braved that.
Oh, okay.
And then we would watch, later years, we watched the Macy's Parade, in New York on TV, and I had a good time with that.
Okay. Your dad sit and watch football then?
Oh, of course.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Well, you had the Lions, yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, you had to do
and
that.
I was involved in many parades in Chicago with the 511 Club.
Oh, yeah.
Because they always invited us, and we always had 2-3 pieces of equipment in the in the parade down, the State Street Parade.
Oh, okay.
So I was in, I say at least 10 parades, if not more.
Okay.
And I was on television because just as we were getting close to the camera's eye, I would start calling everybody, turn on Channel 7, turn on Channel 7, and everybody got to see their great John DeVita.
I always love his modesty, the way he goes through things.
I'm going to have to take a ride to Resurrection Hospital, get my arm put in a cast now.
Yeah. I can call my chiropractor for you, just because you've contorted yourself into a position I'm not sure you'll get out of.
John, what was it like to walk in those parades in November weather?
To be honest with you, Dana, I didn't walk. I always either drove one of the canteen trucks or riding on the back end of a fire apparatus.
That is the way to go.
Yeah. The 511 Club at that time had the canteen truck, an old fire engine of Aaron's Fox, and then the water tower.
Okay.
So I never did walk it, but I was deeply involved in it, and I was president of the club at that time. So I was very deeply involved with it. Yep.
Okay. Good. Well, we thought we'd do a little something different today, since it is Thanksgiving, and it's the time of year you think of turkey. But it's also the time of year I used to remember, and John, I know you would relate to this with your radio knowledge and your radio contacts. I used to think about, I would listen to Roy Leonard on WGN and his annual turkey show, his Turkeys of the Year show, and we thought we'd come up. We started talking, and we thought we'd come up with some turkeys. Mm-hmm. And we've got a bunch of people and things that we think deserve to be called turkeys for the year. And at the end, I think we've got some pumpkin pies for people.
Yes, we do.
We've got some pumpkin pies for people who actually deserve it. something good, because they're not turkeys. They're not turkeys. Some of them aren't. So, just to give you an idea, and if they really deserve something, I don't know how well this sound clip will play, but if they really deserve a bad one, we've got, let's see if I can get this sound to play. Come on.
You sound like a jive turkey.
I don't know how well that'll play, but we'll see how that'll be. If they deserve it, we'll give them a jive turkey. We want to start off. I want to start off the list, and it was kind of a funny thing. Jose Canseco, remember Jose Canseco, ex-ball player, decided he decided to rat everyone out about using steroids since he was one of the biggest users himself. Well, he gets multiple turkeys this year. He gets one for shooting his finger off while he was cleaning his gun, getting the finger surgically reattached, and then claiming the reattached finger fell off during a poker game at a casino. And then he tried to sell the gun and the finger on eBay. eBay told him, no, Jose, you can't do that. You can't do that. He said, and then later he just claimed it was a joke. So, Jose Canseco, you're a turkey. You want to pick up one there? Do you remember what I said with Ed Curran last year?
WBBM weatherman Ed Curran, who during last November's tornadoes and storms, instructed people that when they take shelter, they should hold a book over their heads as protection.
I don't understand that one. Hold a book over their heads. John, you're looking as amazed as I was when I heard that. You know, if you need something to, protect your head, and if you've got nothing to protect your head with, if you don't have a table or anything to go over, hold a book over your head. John, you're working on that one.
I can't make 2 and 2 make 4 on that one, Jim.
I'm worried about Ed. I'm worried about Ed.
And who's he?
He's a weatherman on Channel 2.
Oh well, I watch Channel 5. I like Brent Miller, so
okay.
I never watched Channel 2.
Ed Curran also. Ed Curran used to do a show with Al. Big sports guy used to be in town on WGN years ago.
His name was Al on WGN.
Yeah. I just went blank on his name.
But
Ed Curran was great on gadgets. Ed Curran was great for gadgets and different things.
I can't think. The only L I know in it would be Al Michaels.
No, it wasn't him.
And I know he wasn't with WGN.
No.
L.
Mm-mm.
We'll have to dwell on that one for a few.
That was one. There's another one that we have along the way here for somebody making a comment that makes you scratch your head, and we'll get to that one in a little while. Bears linebacker Lance Briggs, he told the press that he zones out during team meetings. If you're going to sleep during the team meetings, Lance, why are you still playing? I mean, I had to laugh on Sunday following Twitter feeds and during the game, and they said somebody posted that said Lance Briggs has left the game for being fat, being fat and bad. So now I know you feel Michigan needs a good. We have to explain to everyone that Dana is a Michigan State graduate, so anything relating to Michigan deserves a turkey.
Okay. Brady Hoke and the Michigan football program, just for being bad and having his players throw down the spike at Spartan Stadium before the Michigan State game, before they went out and stunk up the game. Brady earns another one for sending his second-string quarterback back out on the field before the game was over, when the guy so badly concussed on a play he didn't know where he was.
That was terrible. This guy comes staggering back out onto the field. He got his bell rung so badly. And this was the second-string quarterback. He got his bell rung so badly he didn't know where he was, and he didn't even get the first guy ready to go back into the ball game. He just kind of stumbled out onto the field.
I would not only give Brady a turkey for that, I'd give Michigan University a turkey because they're crazy to keep him in place. They're crazy.
Well, I think that's going to be something that's going to happen at the end of the year. Well,
Yeah.
I think that's something that's going to be.
Should have happened now.
I think that's something that's going to happen at the end of the year, and we'll start taking bets as to which Harbaugh brother winds up at Michigan first. If it's going to be Jim or John, but I think the office is there waiting for him. I know the athletic director is out there, has been out of there, so they are going to be looking for a new AD, and I'm sure there's going to be a new basketball coach coming in. Speaking of football and speaking of Michigan, well, Pat Fitzgerald, when Michigan played Northwestern here, Pat Fitzgerald of Northwestern decided to call for a 2-point conversion against Michigan when they scored a touchdown with 35 seconds to play instead of kicking for the tie and sending the game into overtime. There was 35 seconds left. All they had to do was kick the ball off, hopefully be able to hold Michigan and get a shot at winning the game in overtime. Trevor Siemian, the Northwestern quarterback, who, by the way, is now out blew out his knee, and he's done for whatever is left of his college career. He fell down trying to pass, and Michigan sucked less than the Wildcats and won the ball game 10-9. That was I know you had a good laugh when when I showed you the highlights of that game. I thought that one was it. The which game was it? Was it the which one was it where the lineman just kind of fell down? It was a Michigan player too, wasn't it?
I think that was the Michigan State game.
That was funny. The Michigan lineman lined up gets lined up in his stance, and all of a sudden he's just trying to hold it, and the count went a little too long, and all of a sudden he just fell over on his back. Nobody touched him.
Almost in slow motion.
Almost in slow motion. It reminded me of the old laugh-in bit where the guy would ride the tricycle and run into the wall and then just tip over because he went slow. So let me do one more here, and we'll pick up on the next thing. Jay Cutler, just because.
He's our jerk-faced guy.
That's right. Oh, he throws a pick six, and it comes to the side. He rolls his eyes. He's our jerk-faced guy. You know what? I mean, Dana's happy sometimes that I put the Bears on sabbatical for a while because she got tired of hearing my groaning and my screaming. Yeah.
Well, he's not on a true sabbatical, but
I broke it last week just because it was Lovie Smith. How about the next one?
Okay. Last winter deserves a big turkey for being as bad as it was, and last spring deserves one just because it never really came.
That's right. It was a terrible winter.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, was it ever?
Yeah. And could somebody find the guy who came up with the term polar vortex?
I'd like to know that too. Oh, it was probably our favorite weatherman.
Oh, little Tommy Skelly?
Yeah.
No, I think they were calling it something before that.
But he pounced on it.
Oh, we have things about that too. We have things about that too.
Well, I'm afraid this one's going to be a bigger turkey than last year.
Well, we'll see how it goes.
Starting out bad.
We'll see how it goes. All right, do the next one. One of my favorites. You get that one.
David Lee Roth of Van Halen for still believing he has a voice and subjecting everyone to it by singing California Girls with Mike Love and the Beach Boys during an awards ceremony.
There is a clip out on YouTube of this that is just awful. It is just painful to listen to.
I'll take your word for it.
Oh, my God. Somebody described it as surrealistic. David Lee Roth, I was a big fan of Van Halen back in the day, and I really enjoyed it. And then Roth left the group, and everybody fought, and they got back together with Sammy Hagar and somebody else prior to that. I can't think of his name, Gary something. But then they decided to tour again. Everybody kissed and made up, and David Lee Roth decided to tour with the Van Halen brothers, and by then it was Eddie's son, Wolfgang, playing bass instead of Michael Anthony. And David was just I went to see them at Allstate with a friend of mine who had never seen them before, and honest to God, the show was painful to watch. It was just awful. David had no voice anymore. And it was funny. I've never heard the term. I never heard the term used in connection with a rock and roll show. But my buddy Dave looked at that and said, "He's terrible. He's trying to get by on schmaltz. He's trying to get by on schmaltz alone, and he's got no schmaltz anymore." You have one that you were railing about on here because you thought it wasn't you couldn't understand why they did that.
Excuse me.
Oh.
It's the next one, right?
You're right.
I travel, from Woodridge to Norridge, going from south to north. And so there is a, from 88 to 290, there is a ramp, that goes between the two highways. And several months ago, they had redid the road, and they painted a really nice, in big, bold colors, the emblems for 294 and 290. Made it really easy to see.
Easy to see which lane to be in.
Yes. So a few weeks ago, I noticed that they had just totally covered that up. They painted it black. I have no idea why, but I thought it's just like Illinois to, make things worse for us instead of better.
Yeah, I know. Now you got to look up at the sign. You got to look up the sign. Yeah, well.
Can't make it easy for us.
Yeah, I know.
Well, things in Illinois are something else. First of all, I used to pay 40 cents for toll, and then they raised it to 80 cents. Now I think it's $1.50. Well, since the governor raised the price of tolls from whatever it is up to $1.50 or whatever it is, I don't even take the tollway anymore. I haven't been on that tollway since Quinn became governor when he raised it.
And there's going to be another raise after the first of the year
On the tollway?
on the tollway.
Yeah.
It's really ridiculous because as you know, I go up to Wisconsin every weekend, and people up there are complaining about us people from Illinois. We go to Wisconsin and don't pay any toll, but people from Wisconsin that come here to Illinois, they got to pay all this toll. Now to go from Bryn Mawr Avenue here in Cumberland, or when you get onto the tollway over there, to go all the way up into the state line on, was that I-94 or whatever?
90, well, you're going to go 294, and that leads into 90.
Yeah, okay.
Or 94, rather.
Yeah, okay. You pay 7 tolls, so you figure $1.50.
Is it that many, really?
That's right, because when I was married and we used to go up to the Wisconsin Dells, we would pay 7 tolls.
I don't think it's they wound up eliminating a couple of toll booths along the way.
Wow.
Because as I think of this now, you're going to pay at Toohey or wherever it is.
Oh, I'm talking about, Jim, going to Rockford.
Oh, going to Rockford.
Going to Rockford, yeah.
Okay, going to Rockford.
Yes.
I haven't been out that way in a while, but I know you pay a bunch.
Now, I know Christmas Eve I'll be going out to Sleepy Hollow to visit my 3 grandsons. I go right down Higgins. I go right down 72 because I will not pay that toll.
You know, if you do need to get yourself an iPass, and it's half price then.
Yeah, I know.
Because you're prepaying it.
Yeah.
And our state gets to use your money.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. John's going, yeah.
Now, up in Wisconsin, right after of the 4th of July, they closed Route 12 up at the Lake Geneva Route 50.
Yeah.
Okay. They put up a new bridge. They tore the old bridge down and they put up a new bridge. So they went from July 5th right up to last Friday. It took them to replace the bridge going both directions.
On
12 at 50, Route 50.
Oh, at 50, okay.
At 50 up there.
Because I know there was a lot of construction on the interstate going up there because we've been up to Milwaukee.
Okay, that's off of Edens. Yeah, I know because we saw that on television.
Yeah.
But like I said, it took them half of July, August, September, October and half of November to replace that bridge. If that was here in the state of Illinois, it would take them 20 years in order. Look at
I thought you were complaining about how inefficient Wisconsin was going to be.
No. And up there, as soon as there's a flake of snow that comes out of the sky, they already got the trucks on the street. Even in the subdivision that I'm in, even our roads are clean. And I noticed the other day that there was sand all over my road because there was snow last week, and they sanded our roads.
Then I think the streets and sand in your area deserves a pumpkin pie.
That's right.
They get our first pumpkin pie.
They're the town of Sugar Creek is what.
Sugar Creek, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They get a pumpkin pie.
Okay.
I think the village of Norwich gets a pumpkin pie.
They're very good also.
For the way they take care of the roads there.
I very much agree with you, Jim.
I think so too.
In fact, this morning when I was having breakfast upstairs, I noticed the Norwich truck went up and down Ottawa here a couple times.
Well, it was street sweeping day too.
No, this was,
wait a minute.
Yeah,
street sweeping.
Yeah,
on this side, on your side of the street.
On my side of the street.
On this side of the street, it's
Yeah.
street sweeping day, so they're always out.
Yeah.
So, but okay. There's always turkeys, but there's people that deserve a break. You know what, John? I think we should also start at least one thing on our pumpkin pie list because everything has been so negative. John, you get a pumpkin pie too. For all you do at Ridgewood, and for all you do for WRHS, and just for putting up with Massaro and me twice a month here, you deserve a pumpkin pie.
Well, I love pumpkin pie. In fact, I just bought one yesterday because Oscar and I are going to have a Thanksgiving dinner.
We have to pick one up because we're having dinner at as we like to refer to it, the Southern House in Woodridge. And we're making dinner and having your mom over, and I think we have to have pumpkin pie for that.
Absolutely.
And your mom will want that. We'll have to have whipped cream for that, too.
Yep.
So we have to pick up a pumpkin pie.
I have a pumpkin pie, and I have whipped cream upstairs in the refrigerator.
You're ready to go.
What are you going to
Ready
make
to
for
go.
Thanksgiving?
Turkey.
You going to do a turkey?
Yeah. In fact, it's sitting in my sink upstairs right now. It's thawing out.
Okay.
My sister and I, we went to Walmart in Delavan, Wisconsin, picked up a 15-pound turkey, and and it's upstairs right now. And I'm preparing it. Well, Oscar helps me with it also. So
okay. Yeah. Any problems doing it? Because we're probably we're gonna have people over for Christmas, and we're gonna do a turkey, and neither of us have ever made a turkey before.
well, I made one last year, and I'm still breathing yet.
Okay. All right. Nobody died.
I did not make a trip to Resurrection Hospital.
Okay.
So
All right. So no, we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it for Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
but
we are.
I think this time we're gonna just. We've got a couple of things we've been trying to cook a little healthier and some other things, and I've got a rolled pork loin I want to do, and I've got a barbecue glaze I want to put over it. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do that for Thanksgiving, and Dana's got another recipe on
Cranberry meatloaf.
cranberry meatloaf.
Boy, I never heard of that one before.
My-
I know. I
sounds
can't wait to try it.
My initial reaction when she told me, she's, "Oh, I've got a recipe for cranberry meatloaf." My initial reaction was, and then I looked at the recipe and looked at the picture of it, and I thought, "Oh, that doesn't sound too bad."
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically, it's you put like brown sugar on the bottom of a bread pan and the cranberry sauce and the meatloaf, and then you just flip it over when it's done.
I love cranberry. In fact, I bought 4 cans of. I buy the gel that looks like a loaf,
Yeah.
And when it's nice and cold, I cut it. Oh, I love that. I love that.
Should we get? Might be something we need for Thursday. Cranberry sauce. Should we get cranberry sauce? Or did we already? Oh, you got it for the.
Yeah.
I know you got it for that, but I don't know if we need more.
Cranberry sauce. I like it out of the can, but I don't like cranberries raw. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll do that. We'll think about that.
Okay.
All right. Moving down the list here. Oh my gosh! All this year, poor Mark Trestman. Poor Mark Trestman.
Dear.
Mark Trestman with his bad hair, his blank stare, his toolbox of concepts, growing the ball, that precious ball, growing the man, and generally making Bear fans hate their team. You know, it's interesting, and I feel sorry for Mark Trestman. Mark Trestman's just getting smacked left and right, but it's somebody looked at something that they said in all his experience as an offensive coordinator as a pro head coach, and essentially he's the offensive coordinator here. It's his offense that they're running. The first year they're successful, the second year they're not. So I think he's run his way out of town on this one. So we feel sorry for Mark.
What was that you were saying about Mark the other day when after they really stunk out a game and he had a press conference later?
He had a press conference later. I swear to God, it sounded like we were talking. It sounded like we were talking about. It sounded like we were talking about. I just went blank on where I was going with this thought. Jeez, that's terrible, John. What's wrong with me? It sounded like we were talking about. I think it was described as sound like he's at some hippy dippy kids camp. I thought they were all going to gather together and sing Kumbaya after a while, and the fact that there were things going on, and he goes, "Well, I wasn't aware of that." Well, Mark, you're the head coach. You got to be aware of something out there. Jeez, give me a break.
I just remember you telling me that he had such a dejected look on his face. You thought if they had just told him, Mark, you're out, he would have said, "Thanks for the opportunity."
Yeah. Oh, I think
See
it was.
You later.
I think it was after the Packer game. He looked like he had just been. He had looked like he had just that was it for him. If they would have come down and said, "Here, Mark, give me your headset. You can fly back with us, but don't worry about it.
Don't let the door hit you in the rear end."
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Don't let
Don't
let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
I watched that game with my sister up in Wisconsin. That was the most disgusting football game I've ever seen in my life.
Oh boy,
It was unreal.
Oh.
And I wouldn't dare let anybody up in Wisconsin know I was from Illinois because they laughed their head off knowing that what a terrible team we had that day.
It's funny, and I saw a friend of mine this past weekend, and she lost her husband a couple of years ago, and she had him cremated, but she told me, she said, for the Bears Packer game, she said the cheesehead was on Dave's urn. He was a diehard Packer fan. Mm-hmm. He says, yeah. She says Dave had the cheesehead.
They used to invite people over for the Bears Packers game because they wanted to make sure that there were witnesses there in case they tore each other apart.
Mm-hmm.
But Barb will take out Dave's jersey and put it on. At least wear it for half the game each time. We saw a movie this year that everybody thought it was supposed to be something special. That last one on the list.
I
here.
see that. Oh,
yeah.
George Clooney for Monuments Men, trying to make us think that it was an epic, but instead it gave us meh.
Did you see that movie?
No.
That was a movie about a group of a World War II movie, where the Nazis were going to destroy artwork and classic things over in Europe, and there was this group that were going over there, and they were going to actually be behind enemy lines and try to save this. It's supposed to be a true story. Supposedly a true story.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good cast in there, but it was just a movie that you watched and you went, yeah.
There's only 5 programs on television that I watch. That is Channel 5 News at 10 o'clock on NBC with Brent Miller. Like I said, the news, the weatherman. I enjoy watching him. The other program I watch is Chicago Fire, which is on tonight at 9 o'clock. Chicago PD, which is on tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. I watch Channel 19 because WRHS TV is on 7 o'clock.
Every Thursday night?
Every Thursday night. And mainly the reason I watch it because I'm on it, and I help with the televising of it. And then at 8:30 is Don Ficarelli, the Don of Sports. Other than that, I just there's nothing on television that's worth watching half the time, and I get so tired of seeing these murder and these programs where they're killing one another, and it just gets just gets monotonous after a while, to be honest with you. I much rather turn on the radio and listen to music rather than to be sitting staring at a television set.
John loves the music on WRHS.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
John might be our only listener on for the Armchair Experts, because I certainly don't want to listen to me.
Jim, well, as soon as we're done broadcasting, remind me, I have to show you something I have on my email here that you are going to laugh about.
Okay.
Remember last Thursday night when we were broadcasting the game?
Yeah, when
and
we were
I
doing
was,
the game?
I was downstairs just getting ready to switch over,
Yeah.
and I says, I want to wish everybody from Harlem Avenue to Cumberland Avenue a happy Thanksgiving. Well, I have to show you an email that I got from a very, very dear friend of mine, Ron Smolin.
Okay.
And he made a comment because he was listening to the game.
I know the name Ron Smolin's big band.
That's right.
I know that name.
Yes. Okay. Well, I have to show you the email that he sent about the comment that I made about.
We always joke. At least I always joke when I do the. Sometimes when I do the station ID, I'll always go WRHS FM Norwich. On a clear night, you can hear us on River Road.
Whew.
Hey, John, it's bottom of the hour. Time for a break. I got to remind you this time. What's wrong with you? Hey.
You're listening to Armchair Experts from the John DeVito Broadcast Center on Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network on Wednesday, November the 26th, the year 2014. And this is Jack FM 89.7 WRHS FM Norwich. And now back to Jim Leon and our special guest on Armchair Experts.
And we are back. Jim Leon with my better half, Dana Felmley. Dana's been trying to become John. You'd find this interesting too. Dana took a class in Woodridge that the village offered about video editing, right?
Yes.
Video editing, and she's done a couple of projects lately that I thought was kind of interesting. I keep telling Dana she's going to try to become Woodridge's answer to Barbara Walters, because the first thing she did was interview the new mayor of Woodridge. I thought that was kind of cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I do all the promos for the village of Norwich
Yeah.
for WRHS.
Yeah.
In fact, this Saturday night they got the open house and the tree lighting ceremonies
At the village.
at the village hall. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if we're not doing anything, maybe we'll come back.
It's 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock
Yeah.
Saturday night, because I did the promo for that. I did the promo for Arcasia, the church right here at Oriole and Cullum.
Acacia.
Acacia, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also for the farmers market. I
Oh
did.
boy!
I did it.
John.
Wow.
So I'm. Let's say I'm the voice of.
He's becoming the voice of Norwich.
Norwich, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know.
Besides all the promos I do for all the shows that I
He does.
do here.
He does all the. Every time you turn around, when we're getting ready for a game, and before we go on, sometimes I'll put the headset on upstairs and I'm listening to music, so I don't listen to anything. And all of a sudden, I got Mr. DeVita's voice in my ear, reminding me of something coming up. I don't know. And we always have promos. And everything always seems to involve Windy City Hometown Network.
All right.
And you're just a broadcasting giant in this town.
I love radio broadcasting, and Jim and Dana. The day I met Kevin at the high school, I promised him that if I got involved with the broadcasting facilities at Ridgewood High School, I'm going to make it the best I could possibly do, and I don't think I'm far from.
He really, John has really done a lot. Yeah, and I mean the things that have been accomplished here over the last couple of years, things now that we're able to do. We're able to do a game. We're able to do football out there, and we're able now, because of the booth being bigger, even though it's not huge, we can do a game inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely a plus.
Yeah.
That one year we sat out on
2 years. 2 years.
Bleachers. I tell you, my toes had no feeling in them. I was so cold that at that time.
Think how I felt having to sit on a cold bleacher.
Yes. And you know something, Jim, talking about Ridgewood High School, that is a very friendly, warm atmosphere at that school over there. When I walk in now, I'm only a helper over there, or, I'm not a paid employee per se, but when I walk in over there, everybody says, "Good morning, John. Hi, John. Good afternoon, John. John, how you doing?" And even the principal, now the new principal, always, "I'm very happy to see you." And it's just it's just like walking in the home.
We have a lot of fun there every time we do that. But we have to continue on. We have turkeys to award as we move to the next one. We've got 3 things connected with the movies. 3 more things connected with the movies.
Okay. The movie Frozen, for subjecting all of us to that song, yes, please. Let it go already. Get away.
That's right. I've had enough of that.
Next one, the members of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences for not selecting Happy as the best song of the year.
As overplayed as that song is, I still love it.
I love it too.
Every time I hear it. I said, and the best one from last year.
John Travolta for managing to come up with Adele Nazim instead of Adina Menzel. And she's his friend.
Yeah, well, supposedly. That was something last year. Did you watch the Oscars last year, John? Yes. You remember that when he comes out and he's going to introduce the song to be presented, and he stares at the camera with the beautiful and wonderful Adele Nazim, and I'm sitting there going, Who? And all of a sudden, I just happened to look at my phone, and Twitter exploded. Twitter absolutely exploded, going, John Travolta just called who what? and I realized, we suddenly realized he had that wrong. We've finally gotten through the political season. At least now, although last night we did have a moment of panic because we saw our first commercial for Rahm Emanuel for mayor. Yeah, John just sits in there shaking his head. But our outgoing governor, Pat Quinn, gets a turkey just for his campaign commercials, his goofy uncle look, for his push mower cutting his grass, for insisting I'm the jobs governor, and just telling us the whole time through his whole campaign, you had to vote for him because the other guy was bad.
Now, didn't Illinois have like the second highest rate of unemployment in the country?
Yeah, something like that. We're down there.
Okay.
We're down there. Bruce Rauner, well, for Bruce Rauner, you really just have to see Pat Quinn. He deserves a turkey, too. You ran a campaign. You avoided detailing any programs. Do us a favor, Bruce. Put up or shut up, and if you can't do it, the last one left in Illinois, please turn out the lights when you leave.
The only thing about the governors in Illinois is it's good for their names to be at the beginning of the state, at the state line.
Yeah,
because they're just a name. But the one that really runs the state of Illinois is that Madigan, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, Mike Madigan's on our list.
He's on our list.
He's on our list. He deserves some things too. He deserves some things.
We've got
too.
some things to say about him.
Yeah. We had a campaign. There was a campaign up in a congressional district this year that just annoyed us with their commercials. Made us scream every time those commercials came on.
Congressman Brad Schneider for his carpet sample commercials blasting his opponent. And the 2 actors who played the couple looking at the carpet in the commercials. We're not agents, but consider keeping these out of your resume.
You know what I don't like about these commercials and these campaigns? It's 100% backstabbing.
Yes.
You're going to backstab Jim, and Jim's going to backstab you, okay? If you want to run for a position, tell the people that you want to vote for you what you're going to do for them. Stop worrying about this guy has a nursing home and some woman fell down the steps with in a wheelchair, and this guy here is doing, and Quinn is doing this and that. Tell the people of your election people, or your people that you want to vote for you, what you're going to do for them. I'm going to raise minimum wage. I'm going to take and make sure that the streets of Norwich are clean and that the leaves are picked up, that the trees are trimmed. Tell the people what you're going to do for the state, for them, not backstabbing.
Yeah.
Every commercial that they've had, both regardless of what it is, any campaign from president all the way
All
down
the way
to
down,
governor,
that's all it
all
ever
the way
is.
down to governors, or even down to the mayor, is backstabbing.
That's right. That's
Right.
all it ever is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was interesting early on last summer. I heard a promo. Bruce Rauner was on with Steve Cochran on WGN one morning, and he told him, and Cochran told him, listen, he said, I'm going to tell you the same thing I said to the governor. Tell me what you're going to do for me. Don't tell me why the other guy is just bad. And nobody ever got that idea. Nobody ever got that idea.
When I was running for president of the 511 Club, I had come up with an idea. Now this is going back way back into the early 80s. I says, gentlemen, I says, if I become president, I'm going to make sure that we get a couple vehicles and make them into a canteen truck where we go out and serve refreshments to the police and firemen on either real hot days or real cold days.
Good idea.
And when they voted me in, I went to the fire department. They donated 2 vehicles to us. And right now we are running 2 canteen trucks, one at Roscoe and Elston, and the other one is out at 100 and something in Doty, way out south. And at that building collapse
Yeah.
that they had at
Yeah,
58th.
over the weekend?
Over the weekend, our canteen truck was out there from about almost 20 minutes after they pulled the first alarm on, and right up to about 6 o'clock yesterday morning, they were out there serving refreshments.
Good.
That deserves a pumpkin pie.
That
Yeah.
gets a pumpkin
Yeah.
pie.
Yep.
Just for that alone, that gets a pumpkin pie. But we still have turkeys to deal with. Still have too many turkeys, John.
a lot of turkeys.
There's a lot of turkeys. Schneider's opponent, Bob Dole, deserves a turkey. He was just as obnoxious, and he had to put out a commercial that copied Schneider's, and threw a rug sample out on there. That one was bad. The only one that I really thought was a decent commercial was he had Mark Kirk on, and it was just a reflective commercial. That was fine. That was about the only one I could stand the whole time. Otherwise, I had enough of them.
Yeah.
Chad Grimm, who is the Libertarian Party candidate for governor, I think the only thing he gets a turkey for is just for not being more visible.
Yeah, I don't have any problems with his politics.
No.
I just didn't really know much about them.
I didn't know enough about them, and he didn't really push for media exposure.
No, tell that story about.
Well, I was listening to right after the election, and I happened to be listening to WGN Radio and listened to Steve Cochran, and there was a comment from the Libertarians. Well, or somebody complained to Cochran about not giving the Libertarians an opportunity to get some media time, get some radio time. You had Rauner on, you had Quinn on. What was wrong with the Libertarian? And Cochran's comment was, they never contacted us. We would have been happy to do it. And he says, and quite frankly, he says, yes, that was a mistake on our part. Maybe we should have reached out to them and invited them on. But again, and if you're going to make yourself known, you better make yourself proactive.
Exactly.
You better make yourself proactive.
And especially because we're in this particular last election, we had 2 parties of which most people didn't really want either one of them in.
No.
And they didn't want those candidates in. The Libertarians actually might have been a refreshing change, but we just didn't know anything about them and we never saw them.
Yeah. I think let's come back to the next 2 things on the list, but let's drop down to we've got 2 others since we just brought up his name a few minutes ago.
Mike Madigan for putting this state in a shape that it's in and not stepping aside to allow his daughter to run for governor.
Yeah.
And then Lisa Madigan for not looking at how this government has been run. While she's done a lot of good things, and we give her credit for that, it was telling that the Trib didn't make an endorsement for her in the Attorney General race.
Actually, they didn't even make an endorsement in the race at all. Neither her or her Republican candidate. Now, Lisa's a great person. I knew Lisa when I lived in her district when she was a state senator. In fact, I did Lisa Madigan's tax return for a couple of years.
Did you really?
When
Wow.
she was a state senator. And I think if she gets the opportunity, Lisa Madigan is going to be a great governor of this state. But she can't really do anything with Dad sitting in the Speaker of the House. And between him and Johnny Cullerton, that's the reason the state's in the shape that it's in. I think a lot of people agree to that.
Well, tell them why the Trib wouldn't endorse her.
They felt that they said the things she's done, going after the banks, going after people who take advantage of the elderly, all these great things, all these positive things that she does for the people. That's the Tribune thinks she's great on that. But you know what? The Attorney General is the law officer, essentially the state's lawyer. And if you're not investigating what the government is doing, with the reputation that the state has, you're only doing half your job. And by the way, we should remember to put the disclaimer in here that the opinions expressed during this program are those of the participants and not necessarily those of WRHS management, WindyCityHometown.com, and Roger Goodell of the National Football League, since I usually slip him every time we have to do the plug in there. But anyhow, let's go back a couple of things. Let's talk.
Just one more question. How much longer has Madigan got to be the Speaker of the House? How many years does...
he was just reelected again.
I don't know if there's a set number on that.
He's just been reelected again, and I'm sure when the new House is organized after Rauner takes office, which is I think the 12th of January, he'll be elected Speaker of the House again. And keep one other thing in mind: he's not only Speaker of the House, he's head of the Democratic Party in the state of Illinois.
These guys should be just like the President of the United States. You get 2 terms and you're on vacation.
That's it.
And there's so many people in Congress, there's so many people in our political party that need... One guy in Washington, he's over 80 years old.
John McCain is talking about running again, and he's like 80 years old. I don't know. I don't know.
No.
Let's go back. Let's go back to some. Let's go back to some other fun stuff on the list.
Okay.
All right. Talk about 2 of our favorite shows.
NBC.
Yeah.
Is a turkey for moving Blacklist, one of our favorite shows, to go up against Scandal, our favorite show, on Thursday night. One show is going to kill off the other.
And the only thing I can say is God bless DVRs and on demand on cable systems, because sometimes when we get behind, Dana comes over and we binge watch and get caught up on everything.
Have to.
We have to.
And for Saturday Night Live, for still thinking it's funny after 40 years.
And a couple of people lately have said the episodes have been, the shows have been good, probably more for the musical guest, because a couple of weeks ago, Prince was on, and they said he tore it up. And last week, Bruno Mars was on. Nobody could talk about any bit, although they did say the Obama bit that I've seen looked at on the internet. They said that was funny, with Jay Farrow doing his Obama impression.
Well, there is a bit, too, with Jim Carrey doing his impression of Matthew McConaughey and the Lincoln commercials.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a couple of other things, a couple of other people that I just wonder about. The Westboro Baptist Church. My God, those people are disgusting. Even though their pastor is gone, those people are still disgusting. Anybody who goes and protests at soldiers' funerals, they were going to protest at the memorial service for Robin Williams because he did the movie the Birdcage. These are just disgusting people. They really are.
When a family is grieving, it is not the time to protest, at their funeral.
Yeah. Pat Robertson, I scratch my head when I read quotes like this from Pat Robertson. Pat Robertson's 83 years old now. But he had a quote on feminism. The feminist agenda is not about equal rights for women. It's about a socialist, anti-family political movement that encourages women to leave their husbands, kill their children, practice witchcraft, destroy capitalism, and become lesbians. Pat.
That's going a little bit too far.
Pat. You just take it a little bit too far.
Hey, is he any better than this guy? What's his name? Bill Crosby?
Bill Cosby probably should be our Turkey of the Year.
Yeah. More than a turkey.
Just for
Yeah, that's what I said.
just for giving, just for everything that he's managed to do this year, Bill Cosby needs to be the turkey of the year. To see his whole career destroyed in essentially a month.
But it took years. It took years for this to come out, and why did it take so long?
Yeah, that's the question.
Money talks.
Money talks. We got one. We got another one coming up here.
The brave souls on Twitter who hide behind social media to attack family members of famous people like Robin Williams, or Robin Williams' daughter, and Mark Trustman's daughters.
Did you see some of that? These people found out Mark Trustman's daughters' Twitter accounts, and they're sending nasty comments to them. Your father is ugly. Your father is stupid. And it's just and Robin Williams' daughter, the things that people were saying.
Terrible things.
And that's on Twitter.
And that's on Twitter. Yeah. That's on Twitter.
There's two things that really are very disgusting to me. Is Twitter and is Facebook. Facebook has caused a major problem in our family right now.
Oh, boy.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we use it. We use it a lot because that's a lot of ways that we all keep in touch with our family. Mm-hmm. I have a cousin who sets up a Facebook group just so we can, when we arrange to get together for our annual birthday celebrations.
That's the positive. That's the positive.
That's the positive stuff. Yeah. That's the way we deal with it.
That's right. But there is so much negative stuff out there. Like I said, it's disgusting. I don't know how to do any of that kind of stuff.
And you better you don't.
And the only thing I know how to do is work this computer right here to get the programs from here over to Ridgewood and onto the internet.
Yeah.
Kevin has taught me a lot how to work computers, and I have no knowledge of Facebook, Twitter, or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got to give a turkey to Bear fans who still are living in 1985 and think that Mike Ditka should be the head coach of this team still at this point.
And how old is Mike now?
Mike Ditka is 167 years old. Mike Ditka's orange face, I believe, has come from I believe might be radioactive. Mike Ditka can fall asleep. Mike Ditka has fallen asleep during the show he does with all those guys on ESPN on Sunday morning. Do you want him to be a football coach? Do you want him to be in charge of this? Mike Ditka, give Mike a glass of whiskey and a cigar, and that's all you need. That's all he needs. He doesn't need to do anything else.
And nor does he want to.
Nor does he want to. Safeway gets a turkey for ruining Dominic's.
I miss Dominic's.
I do too. I
didn't realize I'd miss it as much as I did.
I know. Going back to politics, Illinois voters who seem to vote the same guys in the same people in, then wonder why nothing ever changes.
Duh.
Why is that? I tried to make a point of not voting for any incumbents. There were a few. There were a couple I made exceptions for this year. I voted for Dick Durbin, although I think he's been in far too long. I think he's been in far too long, but Jim Oberweis is a moron.
I met Jim.
I'm sorry.
I met Jim.
I'm sorry.
He came up to, we had a gentleman that did a show up at WJJG at the time, Ray Hanania.
Oh, yeah. I know that name.
And Jim was up at the studios, and he brought all kinds of ice cream up there. Man.
Well, we like his ice cream. That's what we do like.
He bought about 4 or 5 cases of ice cream up to the studios up there.
Well, that doesn't make him good. Let's pick up the next one there.
I'm looking for it. Tom Skilling and any weather forecaster with a Twitter account and Facebook page. Why must every weather event sound like the world is going to end?
Why is that?
I don't know.
Why must they do that? I had to laugh. Tom, talking about Facebook, Tom would put up all these weather maps that he'd get from the National Weather Bureau, and you see all the isobars and the colors, and he'd put this up and talk about the barometric pressure and what the pressure is here and the winds at this, and not telling anybody what it means. And all these Skilling fans talk, oh, Tom, you're so wonderful. You just do this. One guy got it right down to the basics. Tom, what's it going to be tomorrow? How warm is it going to be? Is it going to rain? And if it's going to rain, how much is it going to rain? That was it. Very simple. Very basic. That's all we need, Tom. That's it. Here's one that I know you could relate to. People who can't get over the schedule changes at WGN Radio. You want to see meatballs? You know, Rich and I rail about meatball sports fans, meatball WGN fans. My God, people are still, people are upset that Gary Meyer isn't on at 3 o'clock anymore, and now they're upset that they took him off the internet. I'll never listen to WGN. Come on, folks, life goes on. Wally Phillips, Bob Collins, Franklin McCormick, Roy Leonard, they're all gone. Life moves on. Pick a different radio station. Or try it, see it. You might like it.
89.7.
89.7. 89.7. But going along with WGN, Tribune Broadcasting, did you hear about this? The sports station they have, Tribune Broadcasting, the game at 87.7. They're going to end that. They're pulling the plug on this at the end of the year.
And never told their employees about it.
They found out. They found out from social media. And the funniest thing is if you find the clip, the show came out when or the clip came out, the announcement came out rather, when Ben Finfer was on the air with Alex Quigley, and Finfer is just railing on and on about this. And Alex Quigley is sitting there very uncomfortable. You know why Alex Quigley was sitting there very uncomfortable? Alex Quigley is a member of management, and he knew about it the day before. He couldn't say anything. He couldn't say anything.
What a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Robin Thicke for trying to make up with his wife after a really bad CD.
Isn't that terrible? Robin Thicke thinks he has talent, and I don't know if Robin Thicke's career kind of went on decline when he wound up on that award show.
Well, word has it that he did not know Miley Cyrus was going to torque him.
Oh.
However, whether he knew it or not, he really played it up, at the after parties, and, other things after that. No wonder his wife left him.
Yeah.
And now he whines and whines about how he wants her back.
Oh, jeez.
You can't have it both ways, Robin.
Yeah. We've got a tech turkey here for the year. We've got some tech turkeys.
This one?
Yeah.
J.P. Morgan, Home Depot, Target, and the U.S. Postal Service for getting hacked.
Nice computer service, guys. Nice computer security.
Especially after a banker at Chase told me that their security system was the same that the Pentagon used. So that bothers me a little bit now.
That bothers me more, too. Yeah. Washington's professional football team gets a turkey. A thorough list of the instances of incompetence would fill an entire column. The Bears are bad enough, but the Redskins are having their problems, too. It emerged recently that the starting quarterback, RG3, Robert Griffin III, does not devote enough time to learn the basics about how to play his position. He's more concerned about promoting his brand. I'll give the head coach, Jay Gruden, credit. He had the guts to speak the truth at a news conference about how bad that RG3 is, but the next day he had to back down because he had to apologize. So that's one quick way to lose your locker room. This last one was kind of interesting.
Anthony Brown?
Anthony Brown, the lieutenant governor of Maryland.
Said the general election would be a mere molehill en route to the governorship. Instead, the Democrat lost in one of the nation's bluest states despite massively outspending his opponent. One little word brought him down.
That's right. And what makes it funnier, what even makes it funnier, he was last year with Obamacare when that came out. Maryland had Maryland Health put up a website that was one of the worst and just crashed almost immediately, and nobody in Maryland was able to get registered for Obamacare, or it took them a while. Who was in charge of that? The lieutenant governor, Anthony Brown. So he makes Illinois politicians sound good. I did think of one other one, Christie in New Jersey. Governor Christie? Chris
Yes.
Christie?
Yeah, he gets a huge turkey.
He gets just because. Well, he's huge anyhow. He doesn't need. We don't need to put a turkey on him. He's just big. He's just big.
Yeah, that thing with the bridge closing, though, that was bad, and I can't believe they didn't run him out of office yet.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. He may run for president. We got to get a couple of pumpkin pies out. We gave John a pumpkin pie.
Yes.
We gave Kevin a pumpkin pie. Kevin
Yeah.
Zaflick a pumpkin pie. For doing what he does with WRHS and tolerating Massaro and me and even laughing at us. Of course, we are kind of laughable sometimes. Just putting up with some of our nonsense when we get on the air. Kevin, you get a pumpkin pie. I've got another pumpkin pie for a friend of mine. As crazy as he can be, a friend of mine, John Cola, who runs a couple of bars around in this area, the Landmark over on Oriole off of Foster, and the Club Belmont over on the 7700 block of Belmont. Every year on Thanksgiving, customers and friends bring food for the Thanksgiving table over at the Club Belmont. And anybody who's by themselves may not have a good meal. They are always invited on Thanksgiving Day for the Club Belmont to at least have a Thanksgiving meal there. And I give John Cola credit for doing that. As nuts as he is, he's got a heart of gold. And he every year when he puts the postings up to remind everyone with that, he always puts 3 letters at the end of the posting on Facebook. TYG, thank you God. And I give John credit for that.
And all the restaurants out there. I mean, John is not the only one. There are a few other ones that, will open up their doors and offer free meals on Thanksgiving. We give them pumpkin pies, too.
We give them pumpkin pies, too. I think we've had an interesting show today.
I think we have.
I think we had some fun. Did you have fun, John?
Oh, yes. Oh, I always enjoy being with you and Rich and Dana. You're just like my family.
Uncle John, thank you. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of the Armchair Experts. We will be back in a couple of weeks. We hope everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. And thank you for listening. We'll catch up with you soon. We're out of here.
You have been listening to Armchair Experts from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on Wednesday, November the 26th on Jack FM 89.7, WRHS FM Norwich, and the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network with the WRHS sports announcer, Jim Leon, and special guest. This broadcast was directed by John DeVita. Our audio engineer is James Rohde. Radio station manager is Kevin Zeflick. And the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network is Mr. John Seconda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Tuesday, November the 25th, the year 2014. On behalf of the entire staff of the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Armchair Experts, this is John DeVita wishing you a very, very happy and blessed Thanksgiving. God bless America.